I definitely think that regulatory pressure is going to continue to grow. It's already grown just in the last few years for us. We have compliance audits, we have government agencies coming in, reviewing our data, reviewing our policies, our procedures, our practices around how we do things and how we deploy our changes and our new offerings. So I definitely think that's only going to grow in the future, which is going to put a lot of pressure on our development cycle and how we innovate going forward.
I foresee more regulations as, it's all a learning process. So when we first started with SOX, I can't even remember, 10, 15 years ago, right, when that first started, it was all experimentation. And I think the farther along we get, the more the auditors are starting to understand how everything works, the more questions they ask, the more they require of us to be able to produce the artifacts and the testing documentation and so on. So I think the compliance rules are only going to become more stringent.
Obviously, GDPR is the buzzword right now. CCPA is coming. I think it's, looking at internal audit and looking at those questions, it really is driving companies like us who, our customers aren't end customers. They aren't you and me buying a tech chip for home. It's OEM, it's going into systems. So we don't hold a lot of customer data. We're not holding social security numbers. So in the past, these things aren't as big of a concern to us. And now the question is, well, how does that impact us? And as our tech teams throughout, the individual developers need to know how these things affect us. So it's kind of evolving. I'd say we're trying to learn more about GDPR. We're hoping the corporate and our compliance and security departments pass that information on, and being that we're have a large office in California and we're CCPA.
So one of the biggest problems we've had, as the legislation has increased, we've kind of pulled back security. The problem with pulling back security is the people who have access to that original raw data has shrunk. You have to be an admin to get to a lot of it. So it's slowed down development in certain aspects. It's also kind of hindered who can do the work. So now you have less people being able to access all that information and to provide out, whether it be reports or other aggregates. It also kind of slows development because they don't have access to production data, they have access to test data.